the president for the Ghana National Association of Private Schools, and he joins me on the bulletin. Damascus, grateful for your time. I want to find out from you, free SHS is usually associated with public schools. Now the private schools are being asked to come on board. Good news for you?
Excellent news for us. Let me take this opportunity to appreciate your listeners, particularly all those who patronize private schools across the country. I think this is something we have been proposing since the policy was promulgated in 2017. We proposed to the former government that one means of ending the double track system is to bring the private schools on board the free SHS, because you would be able to offload excess students from the public sector into the private, so that there will be no need to go for a double track system. Thankfully, there's a government which has come to power and seen wisdom in bringing private schools on board. So I must tell you that we are very excited about it, and we are all embracing it, doing everything in our power to ensure that the policy succeeds.
This means that there will be extra enrollment, huge enrollment. Is the private school association, are you ready for such huge numbers?
Oh, absolutely. I can tell you that, our enrollments have dwindled by almost 80% since the free SHS came on board.
Why is that so?
Of course, because a lot of the students that used to come to our sector this time prefer the public schools, because they get to go to school for free. So because of that, our numbers dwindle, and we have huge structures across the country which are uninhabited. So as for being ready to host students in their numbers, I can tell you we are more than ready for it. We have classroom accommodation, we have dormitories which are awaiting the intake of students, and we are ready to go as and when the policy begins.
Private schools depend heavily on funding, tuition for support. This free SHS situation, do you foresee any challenge in the future because of this policy?
Well, the challenge I anticipate maybe with late releases of the bursaries for our schools to run. I expect this to be a kind of bursary system where government pays per student to the various private schools. And usually we collect our fees in advance. Ahead of the commencement of a school term, we collect our fees. When you do that, you are able to plan better in order to run your system. So if monies released from government don't come early, I can imagine that many of our school managers will have a hard time running their schools. So the only thing we will urge government to do is to usually release disbursements promptly to the schools so that we can run our system.
Okay, Damascus, kindly hold on for me. We have on Zoom education specialist, Divine Pay. I'll come back to you with some follow-up questions. But Divine Pay, good to have you on the program. From a policies perspective, how feasible is this?
All right, thank you, and good evening to your viewers. Let me start by saying this is not the first time we are going to see collaboration between governments and private entities to run education. It is a symbiotic relationship that has been there for a very long time. Government has always collaborated with them, and that's why we even have what we call assisted secondary school. Yes, the concept of assisted secondary school, where private ownership is the base, and then the government actually supports in terms of financing and other educational resource supports. Now, the government has arrived at this point to use that as a stopgap as far as the double track is concerned. I do not see the challenge with it. If you look at it, we have over 200,000 students that are in excess of our senior high school and therefore have to be on double track. these 200,000, they cannot be absorbed at a time, and therefore there's a need for the double track. And this double track exists in about 40% of our senior high school. If we want to wait for government to address the infrastructure challenges in this 40% of senior high school, mind you, senior high school are in excess of over 800 in Ghana. So if we want to wait for government to address the infrastructure challenges in this 40% of senior high school that are currently on the double track before government finally brings a stop to the double track, I don't see that happening immediately. In fact, if we were to be very easier, the previous government would have done it. In fact, the previous government gave itself 5 to 7 years to actually do away with a double track. But the huge investment needed to do away with the double track is so much that it was even putting pressure on other subsectors like the basic education. And therefore, if we still want to say, okay, government should address all the infrastructure challenges before doing away with the double track, I think it will continue to exert so much pressure on other subsectors of the education sector, where funds will have to be diverted just to address the infrastructure challenges. And that's not going to happen anytime soon. So yes, bringing in the private schools is good. Private schools have so much demonstrated that they have a capacity, the 200,000 in excess, they have capacity to absorb about 70% of them. In fact, I've cited the proposal from them. They have demonstrated the capacity to absorb 70% of the 200,000 that are in excess. So if they are able to absorb this 70% of students, that is considerably going to reduce the pressure on our schools, where we see students living in deplorable state just to be having some semblance of education. So it's something that we would have to support so that it runs effectively. Support in terms of ensuring that the resources required for these private schools are readily available so that they can actually help in addressing this double track challenge, which is affecting quality of education in the country. And also, in terms of feasibility, it is not something that is coming as an extra cost to government. If it were to be coming as an extra cost to government, then that would be a concern. But right now, whatever government would be paying for a day student, again, the proposal I've cited,
right.
The proposal targeting day students now for the policy. Now, the amount government to be paying for these students in public school will still be the same amount of what government will be paying for these students in private schools. So it's not something that is going to come as an extra cost to government.
Yes. Divine, the issue of funding has also came up earlier today concerning the whole budget allocation and everything. But I'm glad that you pointed that out. Thank you so much, Divine Pay. We really do not have time to delve deeper into this matter. But Damascus, if you are still on the line, I want to find out from you, has the ministry officially informed you on the modalities of this extension?
Well, we have been dialoguing with the NDC from opposition time up to the time they formed government. We're even part of their manifesto team, their manifesto committee, and we made written proposals to the ministry, and I believe they are guided by the proposals that we gave the party then, which has formed government, and they are working along with those proposals. I cannot say that they have formally written to us to outline these modalities to us, but we were invited to be part of the press conference to roll this out, and they also took inputs from us before they came out of their policy.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, President, for the Ghana National Association of Private Schools, bringing us his thoughts on the whole development. But let's stay on this matter. Vice President of the National Association of Graduate Teachers, Jacob Anaba, is also on for a conversation on this. Jacob, briefly, I want to find out from you, is NAGAT excited about this development?
Thank you for having me, and good evening to your listeners and viewers. Sure, we are excited because when the concept started in 2017 and the there was so much pressure on infrastructure, we proposed to government at the time to, if they could consider the private school, that they could come on board, that could reduce the pressure on the infrastructure on the public schools that we have. So if today government is announcing that they want to include the private school in the free SHS, I think that we are excited about the development, and we'll be very glad to be partner government to ensure that the system runs well.
Schools and public schools, there's always been disparities when it comes to teacher remuneration and working conditions. How was the association looking to ensure a fair and balanced working conditions across board as far as this policy is concerned?
So sure, that is why I said that we will be looking forward to engage government on this policy, because we don't think that the teacher in the private school should be different from the teacher in the public school. We will be doing the same work, so everyone needs to be paid equally. So we will be canvassing for all those in the private school to be given the same payment as those in the public school. This is an area that will engage our attention in the coming days. We will be glad to meet the Minister and the Director General to have a discussion on this issue.
Thank you so much, Jacob Anaba. He's the Vice President of the National Association of Graduate Teachers, who is also happy about the whole development. But let's speak to Deputy PRO for National Council of Parent Teachers Association, Irene Sam. She joins me on the bulletin. Good to have you on the program, Irene. The Deputy Education Minister issued a stern warning to heads of schools to desist from filling the forms for candidates without consent of the parents and guidance. Has this been an issue in the first place?
Yes, a good evening to your cherished listeners and viewers, and I'm happy for having you here this evening. Yes, it has always been the issue. You know, most often than not, we as parents or guardians would like to share our responsibility to the school management. And even it comes to school selection and all other things, when we should even take the lead, we should be in the lives of our children, in their academic life, their social life, all aspects of their lives. We should be in their lives. So this warning is a step in the right direction, that we parents must rise up to occasion, being responsible for our world, knowing exactly what is going on in their academic life and the kind of guidance we can give to them. Because we cannot no more send our job or our roles to the school management anymore. They have done enough, and they shouldn't be seen doing certain. When there are mistakes, then we call on them, we blame them. And we should be in the lead, in the forefront, championing the guidance of our world that they need in this kind of selection process.